They said the beast in the waterfall was just its heel, a warning told by trembling elders to keep children away from the river. But when the moon turned red and the drums of the village stopped mid-beat, the water began to whisper, calling one name over and over again. Hush now, the night is watching. Beneath the gaze of the ancient moon, truth hides in shadows, and spirits.
Long before the noise of engines touched the hills of Oshun, the land of Erinyejesha slept beneath the rhythm of drums and the whisper of gods. The great Olumirin waterfall, 7 layers deep, veiled in mist, was said to be the pathway of spirits. The villagers fetched their water from the first fall only. No one ever went beyond the third, for beyond it, they said, lived something ancient, Ekun Olumirin, the beast of the falls. No one had seen its full face. No one who had tried had returned alive. It was the season of new harvest when Olatunji, the one-handed hunter of Iloko, limped into the marketplace. His face was a map of scars, and his eyes carried something heavier than fear. He claimed he had seen it, the beast. He said the eyes were like burning palm oil. Its skin shimmered like wet stone. It moved without sound, and the air around it stank of iron and smoke. He had gone hunting at the edge of the falls and found nothing but silence, until the silence moved. His spear broke like twig against its hide. It struck him, tearing off his left arm with one sweep. He barely escaped through the mist, guided, he believed, by Oshun herself. Since then, no one fetched water from Olumirin. The streams ran dry. The people suffered thirst and fear alike. In the heart of the kingdom, Princess Morinike, the king's only child, had dreams of the waterfall calling her name. She heard drums in the night, voices whispering, "Come home, daughter of water." On the night of the annual Oshun festival, while dancers spun and torches burned bright, Morinike vanished. Only her gold anklet was found lying wet beside the third fall. The old hunter, Olatunji, warned, "She's been taken by the beast." But the palace priests whispered another story, that the princess herself might be a part of the curse tied to the waterfall. The king, Oba Adegbite Olatunji, struck the royal gong 7 times and declared, "Whoever brings my daughter back alive shall have half my kingdom and the blessings of the ancestors." Men came from all corners, warriors, priests, even thieves, each seeking glory. Among them was Adewale, a young hunter with nothing but his father's bow and his mother's charm bead. He had lost his brother to the waterfall years ago. He joined the quest not for wealth but vengeance. The warriors entered the forest in groups of 7, for 7 was the sacred number of the waterfall. Only one group ever returned, and they came back half mad, their bodies covered in strange marks like fish scales. They spoke of voices calling their names and shadows walking in daylight. One night, Adewale sought out the old hunter, Olatunji, who now lived at the edge of the forest. The hunter told him the truth hidden for generations. That beast was once a man, the first guardian of Erinyejesha, bound by the gods for betraying their trust. His name was Obanifon, a warrior who stole waters Oshun's tears and used them to command the rains. When the gods found out, they cursed him to guard the waters forever. But once every century, he may take his soul of royal blood to regain his form. So people claimed, some even whisper, that he lives among the living. The forest of Eriejesha was darker than night itself. Even the crickets had gone silent. Adewale led the way, his charm beads clinking faintly against his wrist. Beside him were 5 other men, all chosen for courage, though courage sometimes walks hand in hand with folly. There was Fatai, the tall hunter from Ifetedo, with a scar across his jaw. Keinde, a young twin whose laughter echoed too loud. Tajuddin, the palace guard who trusted his strength more than his sense. Ogunlaye, the old warrior with grey eyes and a short temper. And Bamidele, the trader's son who joined the quest hoping to make a name beyond the market square. They carried charms from the Babalawo and a single blade forged from river iron, metal washed in sacred water and blessed with incantations. The deeper they went, the thicker the air grew, damp, humming, alive. The sound of the waterfall was no longer a sound, it was a heartbeat. Their torches flickered red against the mist. At the 6th fall, the spray of water turned crimson. Blood, Ogulaye muttered, his grip tightening on his spear. Then they climbed to the 7th and froze. The cavern beneath the waterfall glowed faintly, not from the moon, but from something inside. Golden light shimmered through the sheets of falling water like trapped sunlight. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then Keinde gasped, stepping forward. "Gold!" he cried, voice trembling with joy. "Look, ornaments, even silver!" The others looked, and their eyes widened. Beneath the water, half buried in the rocks, were bracelets, necklaces, crowns, and carved idols glittering like stars. Fatai's eyes went wide. "Ogunyemi, the gods have blessed us." Before Adewale could speak, Keinde threw down his sword and splashed into the water, laughing. He scooped a handful of gold bangles and held them up, their glow lightening his wet face. "Look, the waterfall guards treasure, not death," he shouted, dripping and grinning. The others rushed forward in disbelief. Adewale's heart pounded. "Stop," he barked. "Can't you see? This could be a trap." But Tajuddin chuckled, swinging his blade lazily. "Adewale, you fear too much. The tale of this beast is older than my grandfather's bones. It's nothing more than what old women tell to keep children close to the fire." Then Ogulaye, his voice low and cracked, said grimly, "No, boy, the tale of this beast behind this waterfall is more than a plate of pounded yam and soup. Don't forget what the hunter with one hand said." But greed had already poisoned the air. Fatai and Keinde dove deeper, their hands clawing at the glittering ornaments like starving dogs. Then suddenly, a voice, faint, trembling, carried by the echo of water. "Help me! He is going to wake up soon." They froze. Keinde turned, eyes darting. "Did you hear that?" he whispered. The voice came again, closer now. "Please, help me." Following the sound, he waded behind a curtain of falling water. There, slumped against the rocks, her hair tangled with seaweed, lay Princess Morinike. Her white gown was torn and soaked. Her face was pale, but her eyes fluttered open. "The beast, he lies beneath the treasures," she gasped weakly. Keinde reached out, but Adewale seized his shoulder. "Stop,
We came for a mission, not gold, not death. Do not be deceived." Tajuddin snarled, "And who made you our leader?" He shoved Adewale backward, raising his voice. "The king promised half his kingdom, but he said nothing about the treasure." Fatai growled, gripping his spear. "Greedy fool, you will wake the spirits." A fight broke out, chaos echoing through the cavern. Water splashed red as Tajuddin slashed Fatai across the chest with a short knife. Fatai fell, his blood mixing with the shimmering pool. Ogolai tried to pull them apart, shouting for calm. But Bamidele, silent till now, was already at the mouth of the waterfall carrying a sack full of ornaments. The glow lit his face like a madman's grin. Adewale lifted Morinike gently on his shoulders. "Hold on, princess, we're leaving now." Her weak hand caught his wrist. "No one must leave here before us," she whispered in terror. "There's a hidden tale behind the treasures. They are his heart, his prison." But it was already too late. As Bamidele stepped across the curtain of water, gold spilling from his arms, the earth shuddered. The light from the ornaments blazed brighter, bathing the cavern in a dazzling glow, like sunlight exploding beneath the falls.
The treasures began to tremble and shift. A deep, ancient rumble filled the air, a sound that came from beneath their feet. The jewels scattered as something enormous stirred below them. The princess screamed, clutching Adewale's neck. "Hide! It's too late!" From the golden heap, the beast rose, horns like trees of molten bronze, his body forged from scales and light. The water boiled around it, and the air smelled of thunder. Its eyes opened, twin suns burning with ancient rage. The roar of the waterfall became a scream. Light burst from the treasures, gold, silver, diamonds, all burning with unholy brilliance. The men staggered, shielding their eyes, their faces wet with mist and fear. Then came the voice, low, ancient, trembling the rocks themselves. "Who dares disturb my sleep?" The mountain trembled, the water rose in waves, and from beneath the heap of treasures, the beast emerged. Massive, crowned with horns of molten bronze, its scales gleaming like wet stone, and its eyes twin suns blazing with fury. The air thickened with the stench of iron and fire. Tajuddin screamed first and charged with his blade. Striking the creature's chest, the blade shattered like clay. With one sweep of its arm, it hurled him into the rocks. His body snapped like dry wood. Kehinde tried to flee, but the creature's tail struck him mid-run. His torch fell, and his blood ran with the water. Oguleye roared and lunged, driving his spear into the beast's shoulder. For a moment, the creature staggered, then turned, eyes narrowing. Its claws tore through him, and he vanished into the mist with a cry that echoed into silence. The entire cave shook, raining dust and jewels. Through the chaos, Bamidele, the trader's son, dropped the ornaments he had stolen. Fear swallowed him home. He turned and ran faster than his own shadow, slipping behind a wall of stone where the light dimmed. His heart beat so fast it hurt. He covered his mouth to silence his breath. Then he felt something behind him, a soft glow. He turned. There, half buried in the wet earth, was an ancient scroll wrapped in black cloth and sealed with a symbol he had never seen before. It pulsed faintly, like a heartbeat. Drawn by curiosity, he reached out. The seal burned his palm, but he pulled it free. The scroll unrolled itself slightly, showing words that shimmered in the air. "When greed wakens the guardian, only the bearer of the scroll shall guide the chosen home." Bamidele froze. His mind raced. "Chosen home," he whispered. Then he heard her, faintly, through the screams and roar. "The princess, help me! The beast, please!" He crawled, trembling, towards the voice, clutching the scroll. He found Adewale and the princess struggling in the shallows, Adewale's arm bleeding, the beast looming over them. Without thinking, Bamidele hurled the scroll at the creature. The parchment hit the ground before the beast's feet and burst with light, a symbol of Oshun, goddess of purity, shining through the mist. The beast howled and staggered backward. The earth cracked. Adewale turned, eyes wide. "What did you do?" "I don't know," Bamidele cried. "But move, now, we must leave." He pulled the princess's arm, helping her up. The waterfall raged, shaking like thunder, but the light from the scroll carved a path through it. They ran, through water and stone, through screens and falling light. Adewale turned once more, seeing the beast tearing through the cavern, Fatai's body in its claws, gold shattering under its steps. Then he leapt through the waterfall, the princess in his arms, Bamidele behind them. The cold hit like 1,000 knives, but suddenly, silence. They were outside. The night air was still. The moon hung above, pale and wide-eyed. By the time they reached Erin Ijesha, dawn had begun to rise. The village stirred from its fear, people emerging from hut to the sound of footsteps and heavy breathing. Then someone saw them. The princess, weak but alive, carried by Adewale and followed by trembling Bamidele with the glowing scroll in his hand. The cry rose like thunder. The princess has returned. Men beat drums, women screamed and ululated, children ran barefoot through the streets. The palace gates burst open and Oba Adegbite himself came out, his face frozen between joy and disbelief. He fell to his knees as Adewale laid Morineke gently before him. She opened her eyes, whispering faintly, "Father, the gods have spoken. The beast has awakened." The king trembled. He saw the scroll in Bamidele's hand, the seal glowing faintly with ancient power. He recognized it. His eyes widened with fear. Where did you find this?" he whispered. Bamidele swallowed hard. "Behind the waterfall, Kabiesi. He called to me." The old man's lips trembled. "That scroll. It was sealed by the gods themselves when my brother Oba Adekule..." He stopped. His voice broke. And then, before anyone could speak, the ground beneath the palace rumbled, faintly, but enough for the drums to falter. The drums rolled through the night like thunder over the hills of Eri-Jesha. The air was thick with roasted yam, palm wine, and joy. The great courtyard of Oba Adejare of Erinlu was glowing with lamps as dancers swayed to the rhythms of the talking drums. After many moons, the princess Adetutu had returned home. The king rose and lifted his elephant tusk staff. "Rejoice, my people! Erilu has seen the light again. The princess lives and the curse of the waterfall is broken." The crowd cheered, "Kabiesio, Obawa, Agbewao." He turned to his surviving warriors, Adewale, the fierce son of Ogu, and Bamidele, the swift one who ran like lightning. "You two have faced the gods' wrath and lived," said the king. "The kingdom of Erinlu shall be divided. You shall each rule a part as brothers under the sun." As the feast went on, the chief priest of Oshun, Ifajemi, sat quietly in the corner, his eyes fixed on a strange scroll Bamidele had brought from the waterfall. The scroll shimmered like moonlight on water, ancient pupils dancing faintly across its skin. He stood slowly and said, "Kabiese, this scroll, it is not an ordinary one. It bears the seal of Ifa, the divine wisdom of the gods. It was said to have vanished many generations ago, last seen in the hands of your brother Oba Adekule, before he disappeared into the forest of Erin Ijesha." The courtyard fell silent. He opened the scroll carefully. Golden dust rose into the air like breath from an old spirit. The priest read aloud, and his voice trembled like leaves in Harmattan wind. "Rejoice, O children of Erinlu, but only for a short time, for what sleeps beneath the water shall rise again before dawn." A sudden stillness swept the palace, then a rumble, a sound that made the drums stop mid-beat. From afar came the terrified cries of villagers. Ekutide! Ekutide! The beast has returned! From the direction of the Erin Ijesha waterfall, the ground shook as the beast burst forth, its eyes white and hollow, yet burning with rage. It was blinded, yet its steps were sure, guided by something unseen. The guards rushed forward with spears, but the beast tore through them like dry grass. As chaos filled the air, Ifajemi looked again at the scroll, and as he opened it, it glowed brighter than before. New words appeared. He who was once a king defied the gods for gold and was caused to guard it for eternity. His greed bound his soul to the water until blood freed him again. The priest's eyes widened.
Kabiyesi, he whispered. The beast is your brother, Adekule. The king staggered back, his staff slipping from his hands. Adekule, my brother? No, no, the gods cannot be this cruel. The priest continued. He stole the treasures of Olukun, god of the deep, and was cursed to become its guardian. A beast bound to kill all who seek what he stole. Suddenly, the beast roared, shaking the very ground. Its voice, buried deep beneath rage, cried out, Ifagbemi, help me. Beg the gods for mercy. Free me. But the moment it smelled blood, its nature took hold again. It lunged at the guards, tearing through shields. In one desperate move, Adewale took his spear, forged in the fire of Ogun, and charged. Ogumajemio, he shouted, plunging the spear into the beast's forehead. The creature screamed, a sound like thunder breaking the sky. The king cried, Stop! Do not kill him! He is my blood! But Ifagbemi shouted over the chaos, It is too late, Kabiyesi. His soul is bound by his own greed. His death is his freedom. Adewale struck again, slicing through the beast's neck. The rough faded, and silence swallowed the palace. The head fell to the ground, the body still, trembling, then calm. But Bamidele, trembling, took the scroll from the priest's hand. He opened it once, blank. Twice, blank again. The third time, strange symbols appeared. Without thinking, he whispered the words. A light burst forth, blinding everyone. And when it faded, before them lay not the beast, but a man, frail, trembling, covered in ash and tears. It was Prince Adekunle, the lost brother of the king. The king fell to his knees, weeping as he embraced him. Brother, after all these years, Adekunle sobbed. Forgive me, Adejare. I sought gold and lost my soul. The gods were merciful to let me see your face once more. The priest raised his staff. Let this be a lesson to all men of Erinlu and its lands. Greed blinds the heart, and the gods see every secret. Days later, the king sent men back to Erin Ijesha Falls, where they found no treasure, only still waters and silence. No gold, no silver, no bones. The curse had vanished with the beast. Adewale married Princess Adetutu, uniting courage and royalty. Bamidele was made ruler of the newly formed Oke-Iroku, a neighboring kingdom born of loyalty and bravery. And peace returned to Erinlu. As the moon rose that night, the Griots of Yoruba land began to sing, Beware the waters that glisten too bright, for not all treasures are meant for man's sight.
The gods may sleep, but never die, and the sins of greed shall never lie.
And so, the tale ends, but its echo still dances in the wind. Remember, child, the moon never forgets the stories whispered beneath her light. You've been listening to Moonlight Tales of Africa. If your heart has felt the fire tonight, let it glow. Like, share, and come again when the moon calls.